Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing off another variant of my artifact deck. I know I posted an artifact variant the other couple of weeks ago, utilizing the Lair of Darkness cards. As I mentioned in the video that followed that, I ended up playing Salamangreat with the artifact cards at locals because all of the salad monsters, or most of them, are one card Dagders. It went okay. The main issue being that to be able to continue with the salad engine on turn 3, you actually need to still hard draw a salad, because on their own they don't recur themselves. You actually need another Salamangreat. For example, if you've got Foxy, you still need to be able to discard a Salamangreat card, and by that point, if you've already drawn a Salamangreat card, you can already make a Dagda. The salad cards were good if you drew the second one, because you could then do a turn 3 access code talker play, which was nice, having that win button kind of built into the deck. But because I was playing a fairly streamlined engine, it didn't quite work. So this is another idea that I had, utilizing artifacts. This is Ogdoadic. The benefit of the Ogdoadic engine is that it does recur itself every turn for pretty much free. So every turn you can churn out a link 2 or a rank 8, depending on what you're playing. At the moment, this is still in the testing phase, but I just thought I'd post the idea, and if anyone has suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments. I know that the extra deck is certainly not correct at the moment. I'm playing Extravagance, so my extra deck is kind of extravagance ratios at the moment, but it's not optimal, that's for sure. So with testing, hopefully I can kind of optimize this a little bit, but I'm open to suggestions in the comments if you'd like to suggest something. So without further ado, I'll just get straight into the main deck. I'm not going to be doing a side deck for this one today, because at the moment I'm not playing this at locals. This is just more of a follow-up on my previous video with a better idea. Starting off with the big boss Ogdoadics, I'm playing the Overlord and the King. These can come up on turn 3, or even if you're going second, they can come up. Particularly the Abyss here for the board wipe is nice. Then for the main part of the deck, or the engine, the 1 Alaret and 1 Curse, followed by the 3 Nunu, the 3 Nauya, and then the 1 Zohar. So essentially 1 Snake Rain will get you to Dagda, Zohar, or one of these. If you go for Zohar, you get to trigger Dagda on your turn. If you go for one of these, you don't, but obviously these have more benefits as well, being the fact that they do have disruption effects. That's the Ogdoadic monster lineup that we're playing. For the artifacts, I'm playing 2 more attack. I've kind of tweaked the ratio a little bit. I've reduced it just slightly. I've dropped 1 Scythe, 1 Lancia, 1 Beagletech, 1 Mjolnir, and that's it for just the artifacts. So just playing 6 main decked artifacts. If I was actually playing this at my locals, I'd max out on Lanciers, particularly just because Lancia at my locals is a very good card. Lots of people are playing banished decks, so Lancia would be good, and it fits in theme with the artifacts. Plus, you can summon it to the field and use its effect on field, which does trigger Dagda, which is nice. It can definitely come up. It can also be a body on field if you pop it while set, so it gives you a body, and then if you don't need to banish it, you've got the free body. Moral Attack, just because it's more universally applicable, that's why I'm playing it at 2. Although I'd potentially cut it to 1 if I was going to be main decking more Lancia. Hand traps, I'm playing Gamma, and I'll get to imperm in the traps when I get there. The reason I'm playing Gamma is because with Extravagance, with Snake Rain, there are quite a few really high impact spell cards that the opponent is very inclined to want to Ash, and I would hope that Gamma would be, so like, hopefully we can bait them into using the Ash on those 2 cards, which then obviously is going to plus us big time with the Gamma if we open it. And then if we're going second, Gamma is obviously really strong also. For the spells, 3 Extravagance. At the moment, it's obviously still working on the extravagance ratios in the extra deck, which we'll get to. I'm playing 3 Ignition. I'm not sold on this card yet. It's good. I don't know if I'm playing necessarily enough artifacts though actually that's not accurate. I guess with Dagda we can get access to them fairly quickly. I like that it's reactive and it's a quick play, so obviously I can set it, I can play it going second is nice. At the moment, the big difference between this deck and my previous one with the Lair of Darkness is I'm not playing Heavy Storm Duster, so I'm playing 2 less ways of popping the artifacts, but there is a combo using the Ogdoadics that does get us to Tornado Dragon quite easily. So that's another thing that I'd potentially look at tweaking with this at the moment is Heavy Storm Duster, whether or not it's important. At the moment it's not in the list, but it's something that I just feel like should be. So I'm still working on that. Snake Rain, playing 2 of the Water Lily, 1 for turn 1 and 1 for turn 3. It's not a bad card obviously if you hard draw it, and you can access it really freely through the Naya. And then for the traps, just playing 9 at the moment. Sanctum, Impermanence, and Trap Trick. I'm playing, obviously, Artifact Beagletech in this deck, which is another one of my justifications for not playing Heavy Storm Duster. So if you don't know, Beagletech on summon pops 2 of your own spells and traps. So Beagletech it has the same effect essentially as Heavy Storm Duster would have in this deck, and it's accessible through Trap Trick and Sanctum. So if you've already triggered Dagda to set Scythe, you can Sanctum for Beagletech to pop the Scythe. So that's another justification for not running Heavy Storm Duster at the moment. If I was running Duster, I'd run it at 2 copies, because obviously I've already got the Trap Trick as well. And then I'm playing Imperm just because it is a hand trap, and it is settable off Trap Trick, so it's dual purpose. I like that it's a trap card, it's a hand trap, so having the hand traps isn't bad. So that it plus Gamma rounds out my hand trap lineup. And then for the extra deck, like I said, this is not optimized at all. It's definitely incorrect. I do like 2 Durendal. It's good to have to go into. I think I like the 2 Dingirsu as well. Ding is obviously a really good utility card. It's accessible through just the Ogdoadic combo because it ends on a rank 8 if you so go there. So having the Ding is nice. I'm playing 1 Xenophon at the moment. You can obviously lock out Drytron. Any other deck that wants to summon from graveyard, it's useful. At the moment, I've got 1 Sacred Tree Priest and 1 Rika Queen Strenna. They're useful. Depending on what you're playing against, you can access this in the same combo where you could get to Tornado Dragon. You can go for this instead, which obviously if this is distributed, it summons out the Hyperiton, and then this attaches the material. But if you want to go for Tornado Dragon, you can't go for this. So I'm probably thinking the Tornado Dragon should definitely be the priority because we are focusing on the artifacts. At the moment, I only own 1 Tornado Dragon, so this is something I would definitely bump up with the Extravagance. You definitely want to have Tornado Dragon access in your deck. So banishing the 1 copy off Extravagance would be unfortunate. Playing 1 Chaos Ruler just because it is a monster we can summon off of the Gamma if we pull it off. The Gamma and Driver can also just be used to summon Dagda, so the Chaos Ruler is probably not necessary, but Chaos Ruler can just help put a bunch of cards in the graveyard, which is the goal with the Snake Engine. And then the last 3 cards is 2 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix. We're already maining a bunch of spell trap removal, so the Phoenix I'm not worried about banishing off Extravagance, and the Unicorn is just a universally good card we can summon using excess bodies, which we can have with the snakes and the artifacts. So that's currently the extra deck. Definitely needs more Tornado Dragon. But what I'll do is I'll show you the quick Snake Rain combo and then just do some quick test hands. Alright, so the first combo I'm going to show you is just Snake Rain, and I'll just quickly fill up my hand with some filler cards that we can obviously discard. So this was our hand. Now this is Snake Rain without 1 monster. Now if we hard draw one of our level 4s, that's when we get access to Tornado Dragon as well. But I'll show you what we can do with just the 1 Snake Rain. So obviously we would activate it, and this is probably going to look really similar to anything you've seen if you've watched anything to do with the Ogdoadics. You should probably know this. So we're sending one of each of the level 4s and the 2 light and dark level 8s. And then from here, because we move that over, put these to the side. Because we don't control any monsters, we can summon out the Nunu. Then we can tribute the Nunu that will get banished. For the curse will summon one out with it, which will be the Naya. The Naya, when it's summoned, searches for an Ogdoadic spell or trap. So we grab the Water Lily, shuffle, and then we use the Alarit to tribute the Naya. It'll get banished, and it'll summon out. And on its summon, it will return the 2 banished snakes. So that's the engine in terms of just the snake engine. If you don't know that combo, it's really good because obviously it puts out 2 good ones back in the grave. So on turn 3, they're fairly accessible because you've still got access to curse. So now what we would do in this version of the deck is we would link these 2 off into a Dagda. And at the moment we have our 4 reptiles in grave. Ogdoadic Water Lily's second effect, or second part of its effect, says if we have 5, so it sends one for as part of the effect, it sends a reptile to the grave, and then if we have 5 or more reptiles with different names, we can special summon one from the graveyard. So then what we would do is activate the Water Lily. For this variant, I'll just do the Zohar play. So we send the Zohar, and then because we control, because we have 5 differently named reptiles in the graveyard, Ogdoadic Water Lily says we can special summon one from the grave, and we will special out the Zohar. And what will happen here is Zohar will activate its effect because it was special summoned from the graveyard, and will chain Dagda in response to that. Dagda will set, and it depends on obviously the rest of your hand here. If you can see that you've got no access to pop an artifact on your turn, then you wouldn't set Scythe. You would set something that's a little bit more universal, which would obviously be the Moral Tech, because that's one of the main disruptions. But for this, let's just pretend we've got access and we'll set Scythe. And this is just the end point here. Now, where this changes is if we hard open, so if one of these Gammas was instead one of the level 4s, so let's just pretend, for example, that it's a Nunu, just because it doesn't have an effect that is of consequence. If we hard open a level 4 instead, we haven't normal summoned at this point, so we would normal summon the Nunu, and we're free to overlay our 2 4s into a Tornado Dragon, which now gives us access to pop this. And of course, it's when we enter our opponent's turn, we would wait until they've committed to a monster, because we don't want to get gammed. We don't want the Scythe to get gammed, because it's going to be our main disruption. They commit to a monster, we chain Tornado Dragon, or on their summon we would activate Tornado Dragon, detaching a material and targeting this. This would also then activate the Dagda, because we've activated the effect of a card on the field. Dagda can set a card, and in this case this is when we would go and set the Moral Tech, because with Dagda it's still going to get popped in the end phase. So we'll set the Moral Tech so it can hopefully activate in the end phase, and Tornado Dragon would resolve to pop the Scythe. It would summon, and now our opponent is extra deck locked. Yeah, that's the main kind of thing we're going for. Obviously the rest of our hand could be other artifacts, could be a hand, or could be like an imperm and things like that to set. The other really quick version of that is probably a combo you've seen, but essentially the Snake Rain sends those same 4 targets: Nunu, Curse, Alarit, and Naya. This is if you opened a Nunu, for example. So if you opened a level 4, you can do the Rika and Hyperiton play here. So you would send the 4, you would summon back the Nunu, and then you would normal summon. So if this is the line you want to go down, you've got to normal summon first alongside your Nunu, because then you can overlay these for your Rika, and then you contribute it for the Curse, bring out the Naya. Obviously the Rika would trigger as well, and that would get you Hyperiton. So you would go for this play if you've already opened access to pop an artifact, if you've already opened access to pop your artifact with like Artifact Ignition or Sanctum into Beagle Tech, then you can obviously summon the Hyperiton and you don't need to worry about going into Tornado Dragon, and you get an extra negate here. But that's that play. What I'll do is maybe just 1 or 2 test hands, depending on if the first one's any good, and just to show you kind of what hands look like. Now, obviously, with the Snake Rain combos that I just showed you, you can also do them if you've hard opened Nauya and Nunu, because their in-hand effects set up the graveyard the exact same way Snake Rain would. So if you open both of these, then you can still do that same play. Obviously, you would need to open a 3rd level 4 to be able to go into Tornado Dragon or the Rika Queen, but it's just an option you have. All right, for our first test hand, if it's interesting, we'll play it out. If we can see that we've got the combo, then we won't worry about it. Gamma, Extravagance, Nauya, Iron, and Extravagance. So at the moment, we haven't really got too much. Obviously, we'd fire off our Extravagance first. Let's see what we banish off this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And our ratios are really bad because that would have hurt us. So obviously we're not going to make Tornado Dragon this hand, but then we're drawing into a Trap Trick and a Nauya. That's interesting because... so we'd start off with the hand effect of Nauya, sending that to the graveyard and putting the Curse into the graveyard. To be able to trigger the Curse and Nauya, to get 2 bodies onto the field, we'll have to normal summon the Nauya. It'll get its effect to search for Ogdoadic Water Lily. From here, we can tribute the Nauya to summon back the Curse, and this is the Ogdoadic parts. Obviously, I'm still learning this deck as well. It's not my strength, so if I'm doing combos wrong, that's just my inexperience at the moment with the snake combos. With this, we could send Nunu, which would be a free body, but not that good. There's probably a better line that we can see here. We could Water Lily for Zohar, add it back to the hand, but that doesn't do anything. Worst case scenario here, obviously we've got a Dagda and we've got a Trap Trick to set. So not super great. I'm sure this Ogdoadic Water Lily could do something good. Almost certainly could, but that's all right. We would Trap Trick obviously for Sanctum there. And we didn't get to trigger the Dagda in this hand, which is unfortunate. I'll do one more just to see if we can play it again. Okay, we have Ignition, Nauya, Lancia, Gamma, and Sanctum. Okay, so this hand is interesting. It's not really that playable. Similar to the last one, we can normal summon the Nauya, use its effect to get the Lily. We can still get to Dagda here. Nauya is good because it does get us there. We would activate the Lily, use it to send Curse. We'll just double check that we can do this. Yep, we certainly can. So we're sending Curse, because then we can use the Curse in the graveyard, tributing Naya to special summon, and then his effect on summon would bring back the Naya. And we get to Dagda here. Then we can set. Now, we don't know what our opponent's playing. We'd probably want to hold the Lancia here. Potentially, I mean, if we set it, we can set 3 like so. And then we can, in our opponent's turn, obviously we could Ignition, pop the Lancia, and then Ignition would resolve to set Scythe. Lancia would summon out. We don't get to trigger Dagda. Yeah, oh, no, actually, no, sorry, we don't do that. What we would do is we would activate Sanctum. Sanctum summon. I'm trying to be fancy with the artifact cards. No, we can do the Ignition play first. Ignition, pop Lancia, Lancia summon, Ignition, set Scythe. Yeah, no, this is fine. We can obviously we do this when our opponent has committed to a monster. We set the Scythe. And then we can Sanctum, summon out Beagletech. Beagletech doesn't target when it's summoned, which is great because we would go Chainlink 1 Beagletech, Chainlink 2 Dagda. Dagda would then set the Moraltech, and then the Beagletech will resolve because it doesn't target, so we can pop both Scythe and Moraltech for them to summon out and lock our opponent out of the extra deck, which is nice. And obviously pop 1, and if we need to banish with Lancia, we can. And then we've got a bunch of artifacts to then play on our opponents. So we've still got a Gamma. We didn't get to really use the Snake Engine that time, but our hand kind of had enough artifact cards to kind of carry us a little bit. And we would draw into a fairly useless card at that point. But yeah, that's the deck for those who are interested. I know the artifacts as more of an engine aren't really that popular at all. Typically you just play 1 Dagda, 1 Scythe, or just Sanctum into Scythe, depending on what deck it is. But I really like them, and I like Durendal as a card. I think Durendal's really cool. So thematically, I think the artifacts are pretty fun. But yeah, that's going to be this deck profile. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.